Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. You know it's Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, baby. It's that time, Petty Sports. On your dial, on your screen, you know what I mean? No cap, baby. You know, with the crew at the table, FamousFeez, Lay, special guest, Jensen in the house, Mr. Harris over there, you know what I'm saying, joining us tonight. We appreciate it, bro. And of course, your man, Mike Bell, baby, here, you know, at the end of the table, doing my part. Petty man behind the ones and twos, doing what he do, making it all work. Everybody look good, sound good, and everything, you know what I mean? So, kick back, relax, enjoy the show. Grab a good smoke, a good libation, a good nice drink, you know what I mean? Call a friend, neighbor, co-worker, text a friend, neighbor, co-worker, your family, let them know we on, we popping, we doing what we do. It's that time. We on all kind of different platforms. We got FamousFeez, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, all of that, man. If you go to Simple Radio, that's an app, absolutely free, that you can download on your mobile device. Simple Radio. Type in the Pulse 880. The Pulse 880, and you can hear us right there on our internet station right there. You know what I'm saying? So we all over the place. Share the show. You have no excuse. Help this show go viral. We looking to go digital any second now, all right? But we need y'all. Okay? Without no you, there's no us. You know what I mean? So please do that for us if you're enjoying the show, you like the content. And we all over the chat rooms, you know, so if we see your comment, we'll try to, you know what I'm saying, give a rebuttal on what you're saying. And we also have a Petty Sports line as well, 678-871-9602, 678-871-9602. That's where you can call in and be a part of the show. You know, we look forward to hearing from you on the Petty Sports line, so don't be afraid, no judgment zone, all opinions welcome, but you know I was the only one that matter. You know what I mean? Speed's gonna cut you down if you don't come correct, so watch out for that cat right there. You know what I'm saying? He keeps it 100. That's all we do. And thank you so much once again. Help it go viral and digital. Share it. Share. We appreciate it, all right? And without further ado, you know, I'm gonna pass it on down the line to the rest of the fam at the table. How you doing, Famous?
Yes, sir. Y'all know what time it is. Football season is back. NBA playoffs popping off. US Open. We got a whole lot to talk about. I hope y'all ready. Y'all get in the chat lines. Let us know who your squad is. Call in if you dare. You know I always got the facts. I got too much for you, but I'd invite you, though. I mean, especially all you people who like to talk on the webpage, on the Petty Sports page. Y'all got a lot to say. I know you see us. Call in. We just gave you the number. It's on the bottom of the screen. Please, try your hand.
Scared him, Feed. I'm trying to bait him in. You like, if you dare. Like, man, that, you know, you scaring people off, man.
I'm saying.
Yeah, test your luck, all right? You know what I'm saying? The cat out the bag. FamousFeez want to get at you. So if you one of them keyboard thugs that go in like that every week, every day, you know what I'm saying, with your opinion that really don't matter over here, do call in, please. We'd love to hear from you, okay? Hey, Lay, good to see you, love.
Good to see you, too. Glad to be back, everybody.
Yeah.
As y'all see, I got my, Calvin Ridley jersey on. A little bit out of attire, but it's a good attire.
Man, you representing. That's home team, baby. You can't go wrong representing home team.
Right.
Man.
Exactly. So, I'm glad to be back, and ready for you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. Thanks for inviting me, y'all. I'm happy. You feel me? I'm happy. See, I got the cigars going, the drinks going.
Right.
Happy to be here, ready to talk sports. Like you said, U.S. Open. NFL's back. That's always great. Something to do on Sundays besides church, of course.
Yep, that's true. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into it. Just so we had a quick little overview. So we're gonna talk about, we have to finish the NBA talk. So Giannis and the Bucks are out. The Lakers have taken a commanding 2-0 lead over the Rockets. We're gonna, like I said, dwell in the 2020 US Open. And then we're gonna talk about the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. We're also gonna talk about the Boston Celtics and the Raptors. You know, we have to get into our Petty Sports Fast Five. That's always fun. And then last but not least, NFL is back, just like everybody said. I'm so happy it's back because first we didn't think we were gonna have NFL, but
Yeah.
we have
Wasn't
it.
looking
So
good.
It
right,
wasn't.
but you see they pulled through for us, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about that.
Well, at least
So-
we know they're starting. How about that?
Right,
much? You know what I'm
they're
saying?
starting. We'll see if they'll finish.
Yeah.
You know, if everybody stays on one accord, right?
Yeah, they say the worst is yet to come. So, I'm optimistic, though. I'm optimistic. I'll take whatever we can get, right?
All right. So let's go to the top. So Giannis and the Bucks are out. So you all, what went wrong for the number 1 seed in the NBA? Because honestly, this is like the biggest upset to me. I mean, the Bucks offense was not there, and it wasn't strong enough for the Heat defense. So I mean, it's obvious that the Bucks need shooters. That's point blank. Period. So like I said, the series was already over before Giannis injured his ankle. So what went wrong in you all's opinion?
Well, I mean, if you had been listening from the very beginning, this is one of the mini segments where I say I told you so. I told y'all that the Miami Heat had what they needed to stop Giannis. That whole offense is predicated on Giannis running everybody over.
Okay.
They set up walls. They took charges. Giannis was frustrated. I mean, he didn't do a whole lot. I mean, in game 1, he only had 18 points. On this team, they're needing him to average 30 plus. That's just not enough. And then Jimmy took over, was playing straight hero ball, old school 90s straight Kobe Jordan ball. I mean, for real, like at the end of the games, Jimmy Butler would be like, yo, give me the ball. Last 4 minutes of the game, he's taking all the shots, and he's going to take them home. I mean, for most of the games that they won, that's exactly what happened. I mean, they were really able to hold Giannis down. I know for folks that were saying, like, yeah, they need more out of Middleton. Middleton did not have a bad series. He had 28 in game 1, 23 in game 2. He came back. He only had 18 in game 3, but I mean, Giannis had a bad game here or there too. If you talk about the production and what they actually need from him, I mean, it's just overall Miami had a better team. I mean, like they were contributing all across the board. I mean, Jimmy had a couple of really big games, but Crowder showed up. He showed up every game. Dragic had a really good series. Bam was balling out of control on the boards and with scoring. And then the rookie Hero, he was balling.
Yeah, he was.
He came up in really big moments.
Right.
He was doing his thing out there. So, I mean, it's not so much that it was a meltdown. They didn't beat the Heat in the regular season either. The Heat were they were up 2-1 in the season series before the season stopped, and it was the exact same thing in the playoffs. Just like I told y'all, the Heat would beat the Bucks.
Honestly, I didn't even see it coming. I mean, because before this, the Heat, they was trash. But, and they done proved everybody wrong. But,
Yeah. From what I've seen, game 1, Jimmy Butler going for 40 points, and then Giannis, to me, having a bad fourth quarter. That was the difference. Miami dominating the paint, and the Bucks 19 turnovers. Now look at game 2. Bam, Dragic. Like Famous was saying, Hero. They all had pretty good games. And then what did the Bucks do? Bad shooting, 28% from the three-point line. This game really pissed me off was when they went down 3-0. Fourth quarter. Hear this. They got outscored 40-13. How does that happen? You're the number 1 seed. For real, how does that happen? The game
That's
was
embarrassing.
That was a game they could have won. And then the fourth quarter, and you're talking about the number 1 defensive team, you give up 40 points, you only score 13 points. So it was more than just the Giannis thing. And then game 4, Bledsoe, he didn't show up. Hill didn't show up. They combined for only 11 points. Not game 4, excuse me, game 5. All the losses I just was covering. That's why they lost. Bad 3-point shooting. All this stuff is outside of Giannis, but at the end of the day, game 1, Giannis could have took over. Late turnovers, and Jimmy Butler showed up in that game. So the Heat, and I'll give Feez credit. He's been texting me like, look, dude, you need to listen. So I'll give you credit, and I give some of these other guys credit too. But I know you had him, Mike. I know you were talking about the Heat.
It's all good.
Don't do it.
It's all good.
Don't do it.
I thought the Bucks would be in the finals. They're not. It is what it is. Now Giannis's decision is looming with the Bucks. Bad taste in the mouth. It reminds me of LeBron Part 2. Anyways, that's my take on that.
That does, though. That's scary. It's a nightmare scary.
Well, I tell you, man, like for me watching that series, I was shocked. I was really thrown aback because I felt like it would probably go about maybe 6 games in the favor of the Bucks. But what I said out of the gate before the series even started, if your role players don't show up, it will be a problem. So what you had was a twofold compound of things that didn't come together. You had Giannis, who didn't produce like we expected him to. Then you had Bledsoe, like you just mentioned, Bledsoe and Hill, who I think the team's still looking for those guys. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else had their uniforms on. Like
Hill said we shouldn't be here anyway.
Right. I mean, and then the one who I didn't, I really came down on for the past 2 years for not showing up. I said Bledsoe and Middleton. Middleton wound up showing his tail. He played like he wanted to win. If he had just a little more help from somebody, Bledsoe, Hill, somebody, that may have been just enough to get them over the hump for at least another game, to live another day.
But they weren't getting blown out in these games.
That's
the help
my
that they
point.
needed was from Giannis. Remember, I was telling you, they don't have to stop him. Just hold him to like 22 points. 22 ain't enough from him because he's the focal point of the whole offense, and that's about what he averaged for the series.
And I give you that, but the last 2 games that we've watched had just Bledsoe or Hill or anybody else, Lopez, whoever, somebody showed up and give me another extra 8 to 10 points possibly.
Lopez went for 15 and 14.
But I mean,
I'm glad you said that too, because there was games I felt Lopez, even on the stat sheet, he was a paper champion. Because there was times I thought he needed to be more physical, and he wasn't physical. I'm glad you brought that point up. And Bledsoe, many times you went into the paint, lost control of the ball.
missing easy baskets, man,
inconsistency.
especially last night. I know I counted at least 4 buckets where he drove to the lane and missed easy layups, man. And I was like, whoa.
He was out there seeing ghosts, man. The defense is real.
What's really going on?
Miami locks down on defense. All of them got the attitude. Like, Jimmy's infused his spirit in the team.
Yep. And what concerns me is Mike Budd. We saw what happened in Atlanta when they had some pretty good teams. That's what got him fired there. Now, what's going to happen with him? We know they're going to think about it. He could lose his job, and they could also lose Giannis as well too. It's crazy.
Especially with my guy from OKC, Donovan, on the block now. Hawks, are you listening? But this is what the game plan. I did say this watching that series. Budenholzer got exposed because he did not play Giannis the way he should have been playing Giannis. Not enough screening rolls from the top of the key. He got this guy bringing the ball up like he's a guard.
That's how they play.
But it
That's why
wasn't
they're-
working, so
they're
you're
easy to
supposed to
defend.
adjust. You're supposed to adjust at some point to say, okay, this is my big man. Let's run pick and roll screens from the top or from one of the corners or the wings, and try something different to get him loose to open up that middle.
They never make adjustments. The same thing happened to him last year.
That's why they get
it
it.
happens to them when they lose now. Like,
That's why I
told you
said
they were going to lose.
Budenholzer is exposed now.
Wow.
He did not want to change the game plan, and the team lost for it. You can't have Giannis bringing the ball up court, being an offensive guy, being a defensive
can't
guy.
do it all.
He's wearing all the hats. Take some of that pressure off.
He can't do it all.
You got 2 guards out there. He doesn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would have been the smart adjustment, and I don't think he made the correct adjustments, and hence they're at home watching the rest of the playoffs.
Right. But yeah, that leads into our next little segment. So what's next for Giannis? I mean, should they come out of pocket and build around him, or should he leave?
Oh, I mean, I think it's almost inevitable. So we got a nice little graphic that the G-Man over there put together for me.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Giannis and LeBron. If you just want to just compare the 2 of their careers in the first 7 years, because Giannis has just finished year 7. They both had very stellar careers in their first 7 years. Both won 2 MVP awards. They both had 2 consecutive seasons with the best record in the league. I mean, if you'll recall, in 2009 and 2010, the Cleveland Cavaliers had the best record in the NBA and lost to the Magics and they lost to the Celtics. Didn't make the finals either year. And then what happened? We got the decision. LeBron on ESPN announcing he's taking his talents to South Beach. So now here we go. 10 years later, the exact same situation with Giannis. 2019 and 2020, league's best record. Got bounced in the Eastern Conference Finals one year, bounced in the Eastern Conference semis this year. Now everybody's like, where's Giannis going? You're hearing all the rumors circulating about Giannis going to Golden State. They say they want to package put together a little package with the number 2 pick.
I cannot see that.
And with Draymond Green.
I can see it. I can see it.
I mean, I could absolutely see that. He would fit out there. all the attention will be away. If he had shooters like that, he wouldn't have had this problem.
Exactly.
Well, I did say that he needed shooters, though. I mean, I don't know.
One thing, if I'm the Bucks, it's either I don't trade Giannis. If you're a general manager, you let him walk, because I know everybody keeps talking about this Andrew Wiggins being traded to the Bucks and maybe some picks for Giannis. That's a terrible trade. They know it's a terrible trade. You sell him on, look, we could bring the other guys in, maybe a Chris Paul. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there. You have to sell him on. You need to stay. We're going to bring in other guys. You don't trade a talent like Giannis.
Agreed.
But if I'm Giannis, the two teams I would think about was just championship caliber teams, championship culture. One is the Mavs. They have the cap room. You look at Luka, Porzingis, Seth Curry, Tim Hardaway. They have a team. Rick Carlisle's a championship coach. He would fit there. That's a championship winning team. Easy. Or if he just walks to the Warriors. Now, people are talking about the Andrew Wiggins trade. I don't know. I just say you sell him on staying. We're going to bring in another star. Something. If they can maneuver some pieces. But unless you're getting multiple young talented pieces with a crazy amount of draft picks, I don't trade Giannis. You just can't do it to me.
You can't afford to lose him, though. If you just let him walk, then you get nothing for him, and then you have cap space, and you're trying to get people in there. If they actually make a trade, they basically have a very similar situation to what Toronto is, but you actually get to bring someone else in to try to take over that superstar role, because that's what they're missing.
But can y'all really see Chris Paul going to the Bucks? I mean, because they were also
contract's too big.
Yeah, the Bucks, they gotta shoot. If they're doing that, they have to pay up. But then they were talking about.
I think he'd be worth it though, because he's a true point guard. You saw what he did with the Thunder. Like Mike was saying, he could bring the ball up. Yeah. And Giannis could get in his sets. He could get comfortable. Giannis shouldn't be bringing the ball up. I agree. And we saw that in game one. He was bringing the ball up. Bam, and all of them were ready for him. And that's how he's losing control of the ball. Right. He needs a true point guard. And Hill, I'm not saying he's a bad point guard, but he's not the point guard. Chris Paul could still ball out. Is he as great as he was 5 years ago? Probably not. But you saw what he did with the Thunder. You saw that he wasn't the complete issue with the Rockets.
Yeah. I think Giannis, the world is his oyster right now. You know, he's definitely in the driver's seat. Any team in the league would be happy to take Giannis with open arms.
Most definitely.
You're probably going to have to package up a good thing for him to get him over there and have that bag right. He'll fit anywhere on any decent team. I'd love to have him here with the Hawks. You know, we got a lot of money to spend.
We need help anyway. Right.
I think if we get another coach, perhaps, somebody that really know what they're doing, it's not a developmental guy like the one we have now in Lloyd Pierce, we could really go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, yeah, Giannis, he's that dude, man. I think whether Milwaukee will keep him,
it's up for debate.
I don't know if he should stay or not, man. This is his third year in a row being disappointed in the playoffs over there. He's getting all the personal accolades. Defensive Player of the Year, twice MVP guy. So he has shown the league and the world that, hey, I can get it done. All I need is the right talent around me and the right game plan. So something like we just talked about with Budenholzer getting exposed, maybe his head is on the chopping block. I don't know. But it's a lot of good coaches out here. You got Mark Jacksons. You got your Lloyd Pierces. You got your Tyronn Lues. You got who's over the bench over there in L.A. with
Jason Kidd?
Yeah, Jason Kidd. So it's a lot of good coaches out here left, man. You know, so stay tuned. Stay tuned. I think it depends on how this unfolds in the offseason with the coaches and where they land. Talks may commence.
Yeah, Billy Donovan too as well too. They could make that move. Fire Coach Bud and bring him in.
If he developed a shot and a post game and let the point guard run point, that might change your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Every year he seems to get a little better in one area or another. So maybe next year we'll see that shot develop and that down low play.
Right. Well, yeah, you're right, Giannis. They'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. So next we have the FamousFeez facts comparison.
Oh yeah, that was when we just broke down the whole LeBron versus Giannis joint right there. So we ready for this next game.
All right. So let's go ahead and get to it. So the Lakers, they're not, I guess, the struggling Lakers that I called them some weeks ago. So the Lakers have taken a commanding 2-1 lead over the Rockets despite major efforts from Harden and Westbrook. So, gentlemen, what can the Rockets do to even this series tomorrow night? And are the Lakers big? Are the Lakers bigs just too much for Houston's small ball approach?
Man, I think really the only thing Houston has to do is just keep playing their game. If they play the exact same game they played last night tomorrow, then more than likely they'll win. I mean, what we saw last night was an anomaly like Haley's Comet. When's the last time you saw Rajon Rondo wetting it up from 3? Rajon Rondo cannot shoot. There's no way in life that's going to happen again. And as good as LeBron and AD played, Harden and Westbrook played just as good through 3 quarters.
Yeah, Westbrook did
Where
better.
the game changed was in the 4th quarter, at the beginning of the 4th quarter, when LeBron was out of the game. I know I'm not taking anything away from how well he actually did play in the game. What I'm saying is when he put up almost all of those 36 points, I think he only had 5 points in the 4th quarter. They were tied when he left the game. When he came back in the game, they were up by 11. Because Rondo went for 12 points in the 4th quarter, and Kuzma had another 8. They scored 30 points in the 4th quarter. Rondo and Kuzma had 20 of them. That's what happened in the 4th quarter. They played tighter defense. They put cuffs on Harden and Westbrook, and they had 2 unsuspecting guys step up.
Well, I will agree with everything you said, Feez. For the most part, defense was key. Because even in the prior game before last night, that 4th quarter defense became smothering. It almost looked like what Miami does. They know how to put the tighten the screws on offenses with Houston, and it made a major difference. And this is what I talk about with the role players showing up. You just talked about Kuzma. You talked about Rondo. Those guys, hey man, that's what's needed when you're in the postseason. Rondo, I said that coming into this whole playoff season, they're going to miss him. And he showed up. You're not expecting much from him on the scoring aspect of it, but he knows he is a true point guard. He knows how to facilitate an offense. He knows he doesn't turn the ball over very much. He's efficient. He's not out there trying to make shots that he know he can't make. He's quick to pass. But when they need him to shoot, he's not scared to shoot the ball. And last night, it showed because he came up with some big buckets. Yeah. And that's all we need him to do. Everything Rondo gave you last night, I think he's capable of doing every night on the floor.
Not the shooting.
Maybe not the shooting, but if he can give you half of what he gave you in the shooting, we're good.
He's not even generally good for half of that.
But you don't know now. He may have found a stroke. We don't know.
His entire career, he's been a shooting liability.
That's fine, but he is a ring bearer, so he knows what it takes in the postseason and what to do and what not to do and helping a team advance and, hey, wear that ring, become ring bearer. So, I mean, that's the role players, big and defense. Role players and defense was huge last night.
Okay, I mean, since we're talking about the Lakers, y'all know it's 8:24,
yes.
so Mike
Wow,
Beasley got to count us down.
3, 2, 1. Kobe!
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
always. We pay tribute here on Petty Sports. 824, representing the Black Mamba.
Yes.
May you rest in power, me brethren. You know what I mean? Laker Nation everywhere.
Yes, yes.
What you got on the topic, Jansen?
To me, the game last night, first of all, Covington, he needs to play better. He got to do better than 10 points. All your shots are open. He got to do better than that. PJ Tucker, we talked about this, Feez in the car, driving here. You have 3 points. That's not good enough. And the Lakers, they did what they needed to do. Dominate in the paint. 56 points in the paint. Shot over 55% from the field. That's good. Harden, to me, if they're going to win, it needs to be next game because they really needed game 3. They lose next game, it's over in 5. I think it'll be over in 5 because the Lakers, that size is too much for them. But Harden, he's going to need a 40-point game. They're going to need to sprout the Lakers. They're going to have to shoot the three-point shot better. And if I'm the Lakers, I look at it. You're right. Rondo probably won't shoot the ball that good. But is Morris going to have a big day? Kyle Kuzma. To me, he shouldn't even be an X factor. He's supposed to be the third star, right?
Yes.
That's what they say.
And last night, Rondo was.
Right.
So I think the Lakers right now, they're settling in. I don't feel like LeBron is that worried about the Rockets. And maybe I'm talking ahead of myself, but I don't think they're worried about the Rockets. They're very concerned with the Clippers. Maybe. I want to say the Lakers are as good as the Clippers. I know deep down they're not right now, but they need to take care of the Rockets. This needs to be a 5-game series because if the Rockets win next game and it goes 7, that concerns me about the Lakers championship aspirations.
I couldn't go as far as to say LeBron isn't worried about the Rockets. You see how hard he was playing yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
He
I
was
couldn't even
chasing
take
down everything, diving for
I
loose
couldn't even
balls,
take my eye
blocking
off him.
shots. Like he was playing like it was a game
Yes.
7.
True.
to tell
I'm
you.
just saying the way he sounds, the body language. Even after they lost game 1, he was talking about what they learned from the Rockets. It didn't feel like a huge blow. When I seen LeBron losing the pass to the Warriors, he sounded a little bit. I don't know. The Rockets, I feel like he could handle. I think LeBron James. And it's not just LeBron James. He has to do what he has to do, obviously. AD needs to dominate in the paint. But guys like Kyle Kuzma, to me, we shouldn't even be talking about him like we're talking about a Morris or a Rondo. He needs to be that third guy. Because when I watch him play a lot of times, I'm thinking, man, I wish Brandon Ingram was on the team.
Clearly,
the difference in the game was just the production from the other guys. Like, you got Rondo, had a really good, like, an out-of-body experience. Like, I think Russell Westbrook went and saw the Wizard after game 2, and apparently Rajon Rondo was in his trunk. He hitched a ride and got out. Was like, hold up, I need to holler at him too.
Not about
Both of them came back shooting. I got like neither one of them could shoot like that. But Westbrook can go for 30. He just normally doesn't shoot that well. But if you only got 10 from Gordon, 10 from Covington, and 3 from Tucker, that is not normal. So you don't need an extra 10 to 15 points out of Harden. They just needed Covington, Gordon, or Tucker to show up like they normally do.
I think that fourth quarter defense cannot be underrated. When you clamp down like that, the way they did in those past 2 games in the fourth quarter, coming out the gate, both games, it was a run and gun scenario. Just, point for point, point for point. Third quarter, they started tightening the screws. And when they got to the fourth quarter, it was a wrap. And this series, I don't think LeBron is worried about Houston. I agree with you because you got 2 ring bearers over there on LA. You got Rondo, who knows what he's doing, even without the ball and being a scorer. I mean, without being a scorer. LeBron, a lot of people say Father Time is catching up to this guy. I don't see it.
I can't tell.
He's coming out there. He's playing at such a high level every game. He's showing up. Both ends of the court. Feez said he's never been an all-defensive team player, but he's playing like one. He's playing like what? How many block shots he have last night? 4 or 5, something like. In crucial points of the game. Not giving up on the plays when
he's been all defense. I say he didn't have as many because we were comparing him to somebody.
Okay.
Like he doesn't have 9.
Right. Okay, so what I'm simply saying is I don't think Houston, meaning Harden and Westbrook, have proven anything in the postseason in the past for anybody to be worried about.
Exactly.
All the weight is on them to produce. The Lakers are just going to cruise right through this series, man.
And see, if the Rockets, here's my last point in this. If the Rockets and Lakers go 7 games, I'm just thinking about game 2, all those turnovers Westbrook had, and then the Lakers easy transition baskets. You can't have that happen because the Lakers aren't a great 3-point shooting team. You have to make them shoot. So I love Westbrook. I love Harden. But when the Rockets go down, I feel like it's when I'm going to think about game 2. Because that's the game right there where I thought if they really wanted to have a chance to win this series, they needed to punch them in the mouth. They needed to punch the Lakers in the mouth. They remind me of the Pacers and the Knicks of the 90s against the Bulls. I just can't. You're good. You're going to give them a little bit of push, but you're not. I can't take you too seriously. You're not serious contenders to actually win the series. That's how I feel.
You know what
Tomorrow night, series tied up 2-2.
You know what I did like from Kuzma last night? Him playing without the ball in his hand. Making those backdoor cuts on the baseline. Every time he noticed LeBron getting that double team up top, he was cutting to the rack. LeBron found him, and he was finishing strong. Key plays like that make a difference. And playing with a vet like Rondo and LeBron, guys who have vision like that on the court, makes a difference.
That's true.
That made him, even though he wasn't shooting well, he was able to get open and freed up for the easy buckets.
Right.
You
But
know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
I'm just glad we're highlighting LeBron because, I mean, he was playing like the LeBron, like the Miami Heat LeBron. So, I mean, he had, 29 points in the first half. So, he was going off.
Showing out.
Showing out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So, now we're about to move on to some tennis action, right? So, the 2020 U.S. Open. The ladies have been going in, ladies and gentlemen. So, the men's number 1 seed, Novak Djokovic, was defaulted in the first set after hitting a line judge with the ball during a changeover. With Djokovic out, Dominic Thiem is the favorite to win his first career major. Do you like the team to win it or a sleeper to take it. So what do we think about that? Those 2 points.
I mean, just first on the whole Djokovic thing. I mean, it's the rule. So he got defaulted because that's what the rules say that they have to do if you hit a line judge with the ball. But just for anyone who actually watches tennis, how many times have you seen them just smack the ball back behind him? It's not like it was a 150-mile-an-hour serve. He didn't even look. He just popped the ball back real quick, and then the ball somehow hit this woman in the throat. I mean, he was dead wrong for doing it. But like, what was she doing over there? Like, you didn't see that coming? It's like it wasn't a hard shot at all. So like, I know they deferred about it. Like they deliberated for at least a good 10 minutes before they decided that they were going to go ahead and exercise the rule and disqualify him. So I mean, in that whole thing, Novak lost a little bit over $267,000. Because he lost his $250,000 purse and prize money for making it to the 4th round, which we know he easily would have won. He got fined $10,000 for hitting the line judge with the ball.
Dang.
And then they fined him another $7,500 for not showing up for the press conferences. I mean, man, after he walked across there, shook his hand, was like, hey, I'm out of here. He's like, he wasn't going to talk about it anymore. He did issue an apology via social media. But after all of that, he was like, man, all right, that's a wrap. I'm out. Like, I'm not about to sit in here and let y'all ask me questions or any nonsense. Like, I did not mean to do that. It was a bunch of crap. Like, man, but as far as Dominic Thiem, I mean, I think he's definitely the favorite moving forward. I mean, I was looking forward to seeing Thiem versus Djokovic because he's the only person that was left in the entire draw that could give him an even like remotely a match.
Feez, I have a question about Dominic. Would he be the first guy from the 90s to win a major?
From the 90s?
Yeah, to win a major title?
What do you mean?
Like a major open. Would he be the first one to actually do that?
But I don't know what you mean from the 90s.
No, like I mean, like I don't think a guy is one from like actually born in the 90s, like actually won a major. Would he actually be the first one?
That I don't know. I mean, I know Federer, Djokovic, and Nadal haven't won all of the tournaments.
I'm just saying from what I've seen, I don't think a guy from the 90s has won. I mean, 27-year-old. I know it's happened in female tennis, but it was interesting because those are guys usually dominate. Murray, Joker, Federer,
and Nadal.
That was just a quick question.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few other people to drop some. I mean, like what? I mean, I don't know their ages is the thing. I mean, like, remember that long Wimbledon match between like that final with Isner and Anderson? I don't know how old either one of them are. If one of them are younger than 30, then they might be that, but I don't know how old they are. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, we got Dominic Thiem is now, he plays actually, his match is set to be in 30 minutes. I mean, if he beats Minor, then he's got Medvedev, who's the 3 seed in there. Those are the 2 best guys left. I mean, Medvedev, he won in straight sets today. But like, whoever wins between Dominic Thiem and Medvedev is going to win the U.S. Open. So, I mean, Carreno Busta, that's the dude that he advanced because of the Djokovic mishap. He wasn't supposed to be there. So Zverev is going to beat him on, that's not tomorrow. They play on Friday. So Zverev is going to the final. So I got Dominic Thiem over Zverev. That's what I see on the men's side.
Do you think if Joker was like an American, there would have been more of an uproar that he got disqualified? Do you think people would have brought even more attention to say, look, like you were saying, Feez, how guys do this all the time was kind of a little bit more direct and is Joker, so people care a little bit more. But do you think if he was an American, that maybe this would have been like, okay, well, dang, how could our number one guy get disqualified? DQ. Do you think
I don't think it would have made much of a difference.
Okay.
I mean, it's just by rule. They didn't want to get him out of there. That's why it took so long to do it. They were trying to find a reason not to disqualify him.
Okay.
All right, so Naomi Osaka has been making headlines with both her plight and activism. How big is her victim name displays on her mask, and what does she have to do in the semifinals versus the red hot Jennifer Brady? Also, Serena pulled out another 3-set match over Parankova to advance to the semifinals against the winner of the Azarenka versus Mertens. Y'all funny. Does Serena have enough left in her tank to win number 24? I think she does.
That's for Serena.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the wrong pronunciation. I was like, wait, okay.
I don't know, man. Like, it might be a lot. I mean, Osaka, she's doing some major stuff there, just representing. I mean, I know I saw her with the Breonna Taylor mask. I've seen her represent Trayvon Martin. She repped. She had George Floyd on the other day. Like every match, says she brought 7 different masks for each round because she plans to go to the final.
Right.
I mean, she's got a face off against Jennifer Brady, and now, like, just to say she's on fire is an understatement. The 25-year-old American has not dropped a single set in the U.S. Open. I have no idea where this chick came from, but she ran through Caroline Garcia, who we remember when we spoke on this last week. She beat the number 1 seed in the tournament, Plistova. Then she turned around and she beat Kerber in straight sets. I mean, ran her off the court. So like she's sitting up here, she's sitting already. Like Osaka is gonna have to have one of her best matches to beat her if Brady is to continue playing the way she's been playing leading up to here. But as far as Serena winning her 24th, I'm always rooting for Serena. I've been wanting her to win it. Like, I hope she can get these last couple of majors out of her system so she can just go out on top. It's like it's painful watching her make it and lose, but she's got quite a task on her. I know we were waiting on the winner. That other match is over. Azarenka just ran through Mertens. Okay. But she beat her in straight sets. I think the last set might have been 6-1. I was watching it, and I mean, we kind of had a show to do, so I stopped watching. But she straight ran her off the court. So, I mean, what we're looking at is Serena versus Azarenka, which is an old-time match for her. They've played each other 22 times. Serena's 18-4 against Azarenka. Last time she played her was at Indian Wells back in March of 2019. She beat her 7-5, 6-3. See, she's very familiar with Azarenka. She's used to beating Azarenka, so she should have a mental edge over her. So, I mean, hopefully what we'll be looking for is a Saturday final between Serena and Osaka. That's what we want.
Yeah, I agree. I think Serena, I mentioned this a couple of weeks back when we were talking about her. She does really well in all the rounds leading up to that championship round. Like, I don't know if she just runs out of gas or the competition's just that good to where she just doesn't have it. But I'm looking for her to pull through with a victory. I'm cheering for her as well. Her work is going to be cut out, like it is all the time in the championship round. As far as Osaka, she's got to come with her A game. That would be a great matchup for her and Serena to be in the finals. I'm so proud of Osaka being such a young female athlete,
right,
and representing her activism the way she does. She's
doing a good job at that.
It's only been this year that the movement, the Black Lives Matter, and a lot of the other things that's going on to bring about awareness about some of the injustices that takes place here in this country against people of color, that it has been kind of easy for athletes to jump on board and be a part of the movement and be as active as they have been, because in past years they haven't. Whatever reasons, scared of losing their money, their contracts with sponsorships and so forth. But this year, and you've never seen it in tennis.
Nope.
That's different.
She steps up.
Trailblazer.
Yeah, she's on Front Street with it, with the mask. I guess that's her way of saying, say their name. Remember their names. Yeah. And I'm proud of her in that regard, as well as her play on the court as well. So shouts out to them, man. And maybe we'll see those two in the championship round.
Hopefully.
Yeah, she's a young trailblazer. So, yeah, we're definitely rooting for them. So now we're going to take it to Mike B with our sponsors.
Oh, little old me over here on the end.
Yes.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in, watching us tonight. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is. Petty Sports Wednesday night, brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studio. We appreciate you tuning in and joining us. You could have been anywhere else in the world tonight, but you're here with us talking sports. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, sports is back in full swing, and we have something to say about it. What say you? Call in at 678-871-9602, 678-871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the show. Join the conversation. We'd love to hear from you guys. We see you in the chat rooms and on these different pages, keyboarding it up all week long. This is your chance to vent and get at us, and you know what I'm saying? Let us know what you really think, do you like the show? Do you like what we do here?
Let us know. Let us know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. You know what I mean? We represent. We keep it 100 over here. You know, we on all kind of different platforms: Book of Face, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, Twitter. If you go to Simple Radio, that free app that you can download to your mobile device, you can type in the Simple Radio. Boop, boop, excuse me. The Pulse 880. The Pulse 880 radio right there into the Simple Radio app, and you can listen to us on our internet radio station right there. So we all over the place. Share the show, help it go viral, help it go digital. Call your friends, neighbor, co-worker, and family members. Let them know we at the table, we own and we doing what we do. We drinking good, we smoking good. That's what we do on all the shows here at Kingz Broadcasting.
Yes, sir.
You know, we do something on Mondays with the Hot 3, Henry Patterson and Justin Frazier. Wednesday night, of course, here with us at the table. Thursday, you got Watch for the Hook, Petty Man Podcast. Fridays, you got 808 on the Beat with D Bizzle and Q Smooth. You know, so hey, check us out. Sundays, 8 o'clock, No Name the Podcast. And that No Name After Dark is where it's at. You know what I mean? So hey, we get grown and sexy. We talk relationship talk. We talk all kind of stuff. You know, you got to be grown and sexy for that one right there. So check us out. All these shows air at 8 o'clock on their respective days. And we air all of those shows on the radio station at the 8 o'clock time slot. And if you go to the internet radio station at Pulse 880, we're on 24/7. All kinds of music, gospel, rap, hip hop, R&B, jazz. All you gotta do is tune in. And at 2 o'clock every day, we play a lot of the artists that are featured on the 808 on the Beat show. 808 on the Beat that airs Friday. A lot of the artists that come on that show, their time to shine is at 2 o'clock. So for a whole hour from 2 to 3, we highlight those artists on the radio station over there. So check us out, man. We got a lot going on. We appreciate you guys checking us out, tuning in, and you know what I'm saying, sticking with us. Without no you, there's no us. Appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? ATL, hope.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're moving right along. So the Clippers are being tested by the young Denver Nuggets. Is there anything emerging superstar Jamal Murray and the Nuggets can do to shock the Clippers? So what do we think?
Oh, wow.
I don't really think there is anything they can do. I mean, Jamal Murray surprised me in game 2. He came out and had another big game like he did in the other series. But, I mean, a big game was 27 against that defense. And Kawhi played a horrible game in game 2. So, I mean, moving forward, it just looks like with Paul George playing the way he's playing and Kawhi seeming like he had his one bad game for the year, there's just nothing they can do. I think the Clippers will go ahead and take care of them in 5. They're going to win tonight, then they'll win again in 2 days, and they'll be waiting on the Lakers and the Rockets.
Okay. So what do we think?
I think this kind of reminds me of like when like Floyd used to take fights and you know he would try to convince people that the guy had a chance to win. That's how
scenario.
That's how I feel about this series. Denver, like he said about game 2. Look, Jeremiah Grant and Gary Harris, they played great defense. Kawhi. Honestly, I never really see Kawhi play bad playoff games. It's crazy. When was the last time? It was like 2015, 2016. He actually scored less than 15 points. That's very rare. Defensively, Denver's gonna have to have Kawhi have another bad game. Can they do that? Probably not. And if Denver wants to be taken seriously, they're gonna have to win tonight. Maybe Murray might have to go for 40. He might have to go for 40 because I don't see them slowing down. I don't see them slowing down the Clippers.
I don't think he can against them.
Yeah, playoff P, it looks like he's getting comfortable. He's getting comfortable. He's settling in. He's like, you know what? I could do it. Because he struggles.
Pandemic P.
Right.
Exactly. and then I look at game 2. Let's go back to game 2 where Denver was successful. They forced 17 turnovers. They got to force turnovers tonight. It starts on the defensive end. There's just too many weapons. Kawhi had 13. Harrell had 10. Lou didn't play well at all. They shot 69% from the free throw line. Will all this happen? I don't know.
No.
So I'm kind of leaning towards your 5 games with it. But Denver's going to have to win tonight. They're going to have to win game 5. And then I could kind of take them seriously. They're where they need to be at. The Clippers are on a mission.
I figured they'd sweep, but they definitely ain't going to lose another one.
Doc Rivers, at the end of the day, Doc Rivers, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, all these guys, Lou, Harold, they know what's up. It's the heavyweight fight they want. LA versus LA. They're warming up for them. Who's going to finish their series faster? And to me, again, I want the Lakers to do it, but reality says, and the field says the Clippers, right? So
yeah.
The Clippers are that team right now. They're in sync, and the crazy part is Kawhi doesn't play bad in playoff games. He might not have that clout or the high LeBron gets, where LeBron's getting all the blocks, he's getting the ESPN love, all that stuff. You know I love LeBron, but I'm just being real. Everything is on the show. He's the Nike guy. He's the ESPN guy. But Kawhi, he's very consistent, never really plays bad games. He's in that mindset where he's won before. AD's never won before. So it's like, they're just getting set up for the LA versus LA thing. I think Denver's too young, not enough experience on the team. Jamal Murray, great story. He was able to do a lot of things against the Jazz because the Jazz were inexperienced, didn't have that defense. Is Porter Jr. going to step up? Bobo, what happened to some of these guys? Yeah. They're going to need to play their behinds up. Joker, and my problem with Joker, he did lose the weight, but guess what? Fourth quarter, he looks gassed. I noticed these things. Maybe it's nitpicking, but when you look at the big-time series, things show. So Denver, they're going to have to be more mature than what they are. Can they do that? Can they play older than what they are? I don't know. Mike Malone, can you coach older than what you are? Doc has kind of been there. I'm not a Doc guy, but Doc has more experience.
Not there.
I'm a Doc guy. I like Doc. I like the Joker. One of my predictions came true. I felt like they would not get swept. I think Feez picked them to go out and get swept in this series. I said they would probably lose one because I don't think they had the answer for the Joker. And they don't. The Joker showed up every game. Zuba, he hasn't been able to stop this guy. He's been frustrated down low dealing with him, picking up those early fouls and getting in trouble and having to go out of the game. And whoever they put in on the Joker, he totally dominates. And I will agree with you about those guys not having the experience. They just came from a 7-game series. And I think they're a little winded going against somebody like the Clippers, who had some rest coming into this.
And depth.
And depth. So I don't know. I think they may be able to scratch out another win. I don't think they'll pull the series out, but I think they probably have enough in the tank.
But Mike Malone,
if TJ Murray can find a way. Jamal Murray can find a way.
To call him TJ Warren.
Yeah. I meant to say Jamal Murray. If he can find a way to be consistent, I can probably truly call him a superstar at that point. I think he has spurts to where you can see glimpses of him being this close to being called a superstar in this league. But here in the playoffs is where you earn your name to be a superstar.
Right.
And I just don't think he's been that consistent. He's missing a lot of shots. 2 games out of this series so far, he has not showed up. And I don't know if it's a defensive thing that the Clippers are doing that's really bothering him, but he's missing a lot of good looks at the rack. So he has to find a way to be more consistent, and I think if he can do that, I think they'll find a way to maybe eke out one more win, perhaps.
I think it'll be tough because they're going to have to commit to trying to stop Kawhi. The double teams have to come. They have to continuously do it. And the problem with that is, and if you look against the Jazz, I'm not disrespecting them. Donovan Mitchell was hooping and stuff like that. You didn't really have multiple guys who's going to beat you with the mid-range game, the long-range game. The Clippers, it's just a battle. I know the game's not as physical as it was back in the day, but you're going to have to commit defensively to win. I felt like they committed more offensively to win in the first series. If you stop Kawhi and put the game on Paul George, I think that's their best chance to win. Not saying it'll happen, but for them to even get one more game.
Right.
So we'll see if it can happen.
Paul George took over last game.
Yeah, he did. He went to see the Wizard. You know what I'm saying? I think coming into this series, he found the Wizard.
He went to see him last series.
Yeah,
That's all Seth Curry's fault.
He came and saw the Wizard coming into he went to see the Wizard right before this series started. He said, "Hey, I've shaken the cobwebs off. I got my mojo back," and he's playing like it.
Right,
helping take some of that pressure off Kawhi.
Right.
We were looking for Lou Williams in those first 2 games. He hadn't really showed up until yesterday, the last game they played. So big shouts out to him stepping up like he did. So I mean,
and Lou scares me the most. He scares me the most. I remember last year when they played the Warriors, Lou came up big in the fourth quarter, and that's when you'll see as the series goes on, Denver's defense gets tired. Lou's shots start knocking down. So Playoff P, I guess that's what they call him. Playoff P and Kawhi are going to have to take over.
Oh, and I hate to cut us off real quick, y'all, but we got to move on.
Well, can I say one more thing?
Okay, go ahead.
The common thread here that we've talked about with these basketball teams is it's by committee. Your superstars are not going to be able to carry the teams here in any of these series, you're going to have that third and fourth guy really step up and play their roles at a high level for them to shine. On any of the teams, if you're totally relying on your 1 and 2 guys, it's not going to get done. That third and fourth guy has to be an intricate part of the game in order for that team to move forward.
Okay, yeah. To conclude it real quick, going back to Jamal Murray, the fact that the Timberwolves passed up on him in the draft, that's crazy. I bet they're feeling salty now.
It
There's
happens.
a couple
It
guys
happens,
they
though. It
passed
happens.
up on. Let's pull up
happens.
that list.
But all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving right along. The Boston Celtics regained their composure in Game 5 and took a 3-2 lead over the defending champion, the Raptors. So, how would you grade Toronto's 2020 season if they're eliminated tonight? Are the Celtics or Raptors poised enough to take out the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals? So, what do we think?
I mean, I think Toronto's overachieved. I mean, especially their expectations were not that high after Kawhi left and there was no replacement. It's not like it was in a blockbuster trade. He just left. And they got the same team they had before. So, I mean, for them to even be in the second round of the playoffs and be in a dogfight with Boston is it shows a lot of character. I mean, they've got great coaching and they got a lot of players with a lot of heart. I don't think they're going to win tonight. They're up by 2 points, and I know some of y'all are probably ahead of me, but it's 96-94. Boston down 2 right now. I think this series ends tonight. Not worried about them at all. But for the next round, I think Boston does have enough depth of their roster, and it's not like Tatum has been hooping, but it's not just Tatum carrying the team, where Miami cannot just focus their entire defense on Tatum. Because Kemba's been hooping, Marcus Smart has been showing up, the Jaylen Brown has been getting it in. It's like when they've got 4 legitimate scorers out there, as well as some production off of the bench. I mean, last game, Wanamaker started hooping. I mean, they've got all types of ways to beat you, and they play tough defense. I think it'll be a tough series, but I got Boston taking Miami out.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Newsflash, Atlanta United just won 2-1.
Okay.
Wow.
Big shouts out to them guys.
Shout out.
They on another page right about now.
Shout out to
sir.
Atlanta United.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. All Atlanta teams.
Yeah.
To answer your question with Toronto, I think it won't be a failed season, and you can see Nick Nurse, why he was the coach of the year. Some of the guys who emerged, OG Anunoby, his role increased, Powell's role increased, Fred VanVleet, and he's probably going to be a guy who gets a big contract somewhere else. He got even better. I think Toronto wins tonight's game, and I think they win in 7. I think they're better than Boston. They're more seasoned than Boston. I feel like Nick Nurse is a better coach than Brad Stevens. Barely. Brad Stevens is a really great
Brad
coach.
Stevens
That's not a
just
knock.
got a coach of the year. What the year before?
Yeah, Brad Stevens is a great coach. You're right about that. I'm not downplaying him. I just think Toronto, even without Kawhi Leonard, I know he was their big superstar and their closer, and that's why ultimately they're not going to win the championship again. I think Toronto could get to the next round. Now, the second part of the question was the Miami Heat. Could they challenge the Heat? Yeah, I think they could challenge the Heat, but we can't forget Eric Spoelstra's won 2 championships before. Right. I know people like to write that off because LeBron James was there and Wade and Bosh, but at the end of the day, we've seen his coaching. We've seen what he was able to do. We've seen guys step up defensively, the way they're able to defend the three-point shot, and pretty much they knew when Giannis was bringing the ball up, like you said, they had set defenses waiting for him, and they were daring other guys to make shots, and it didn't happen consistently. And the thing that scares me about the Heat is Jimmy Butler. Some games he does show up in the fourth quarter. Some games he doesn't. But then Dragic will show up. And then Tyler Hero, he's cashing out. So they have so many guys who could get you in the fourth quarter that it scares me. It scares me. So it's going to be tough to beat the Heat with their experience.
I agree. Once again, we're back to by committee. Your superstars are not going to be able to carry the load alone. You're 1 and 2 guys. You need the other people to chip in, to help
Team
out,
effort.
to get it done. Jimmy Butler, in my opinion, he's been phenomenal. He hasn't probably played a whole heck of a lot of minutes. He's on the bench resting a lot of times during the game because they're up most of the time in a big way. So Spoelstra, like you just said, even though they had LeBron, he had a ring before LeBron got there. So he's solidified as being a good coach, So, and the Heat, I did predict those guys to go pretty far in the East. I'm not sold on Boston still. I think even though tonight Feez is picking them to Toronto to go home, I just don't think you can discount the heart of a champion like that. These guys are so far scrapping it out. I haven't seen very much of the game, but I'm looking at the score. I think they're up by 4 right now with like 4 minutes, 4 minutes left in the game. It's going to be a dogfight down to the wire. So this is...
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So,
Can I say something real quick? I'm sorry to cut you off. And maybe this seems like hate, but Jimmy Butler, as good as he is, to me, he's not as good as he says he is because, and I'm only saying that because if they could get to the finals, I think we'll see the difference between Jimmy Butler and what a superstar is. I think a superstar, for the most part, shows up every game,
That's right.
especially for the most part in the fourth quarter. And Jimmy Butler in that series against the Bucks, I noticed 40-point game. After that, kind of had a slack game. That's kind of how Jimmy Butler is. I'm not discrediting him. I'm just saying we could see him be, if they could get to the finals, which would be a great season for the Heat. It's not like they were expected to get that far.
Right.
I think he gets exposed against a team like the Clippers or the Lakers, some of the higher caliber teams with the higher caliber superstars who consistently show up in big games.
I don't think you can give Butler, I don't know if anybody at this table would agree, but I don't consider him a superstar.
I don't. I'm just saying what he says.
I give him an all-star. I
He-
say he's an all-star, but I don't think he has the superstar status. I don't think anybody on
He thinks
Miami
he is, though, in
is
his
a
mind.
superstar. Truly, what they're doing is by committee. You know, the guys are grimy. They're getting it done in more ways than one on both sides of
Nobody
the ball.
left in the East that's considered a superstar.
wow.
Giannis was like the only one for real. You might be the only one in the entire Eastern Conference if you want to just keep it funky.
Well, we'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're moving right along. So it's time for sponsors again from Mike B.
Hey, ladies and
Take it
gentlemen,
away.
you are watching Petty Sports Wednesday Night Edition. We appreciate you joining. All of this is brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studios. Big shouts out to my guy, Petty Man, over here behind the ones and twos, making it all work. And by any chance, we lose the stream on Facebook. Whenever, this show, any show, you can always go over to YouTube. Type in Kingz Broadcasting, Kingz with a Z. Type it in over there on YouTube and you can watch us stream over there just like nothing ever happened. So thanks once again for tuning in. Start that watch party. We appreciate it, man. Give a couple shouts out to people that's watching. We got Tripolar out there, Big Country, T-Dobbs, JR, Tashura. We see you out there. That's what's good, man. Who you got in your room over there, Feez?
You know, the room always stay deep, man. I got Ella Cunningham in there, Sonia Batanzos, Letitia's in there, Willie Green, Damon Williams in there, William Todd,
deep in
Ken
there,
Colbert,
okay.
my sis, Monica's in there, Mellow Rearview, the Bruz in the house, man, Dakota Easery. Man, the room is like, it stays deep. Jerry's in there, Big Rock Diesel's in the house, April Haney, Jamila's in there.
Give a shout. This for you guys. Everybody's tuning in that chat room.
Thank you.
Big shouts out to you guys, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And call in 678-960-2678, 871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the show and join the conversation, all right? Don't be scared. We want to hear from you guys. We love it, all right?
All right, let's get to it. So we're on to our Petty Sports Fast 5. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what that means. Each panelist gets 30 seconds per question to give their take. So we're going to talk about Steve Nash to the Nets, Adrian Peterson to the Lions, Clowney signs a 1-year deal with the Titans, DeAndre Hopkins, massive deal, which was crazy. The Lakers and the Rockets, right? So our number one question to start our Petty Sports Fast 5. So Steve Nash to coach the Nets. How do we feel about that? And who wants to go first? Oh, okay. Let's do it.
So Steve Nash to coach the Nets. My question number one is, how is he going to deal with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? Because Kevin Durant's not the same Kevin Durant he was at OKC. More vocal. Some of the media is getting to him. And I'll be fair, I think it's a lot of the LeBron-based media that is kind of throwing maybe the shade towards him or saying little petty things that's getting on his nerves and not trying to give him that respect. And then you have Kyrie Irving. We've seen his last situation with Boston. We're watching Boston right now. Let's just keep it real. They're better without him. And then how are they going to implement Karis LeVert, who's been playing awesome for the Nets? He's been hooping. He's been putting up points. And then Spencer Dinwiddie. We can't forget about him. He was hooping when Kyrie went out. That concerned me. He's like, why is he better when Kyrie's out? So how is Steve Nash going to deal with all that? Who else is going to be on the roster? Joe Harris. Throw him in the mix. And what vets are they going to get? So this isn't easy. On paper, yes, you have Durant, you have Kyrie Irving. Some people know who LeVert is, some people don't. It looks good on paper, but how is he going to deal with these personalities? That's what I want to see out of him.
Okay. Well, for me, I guess I'll take it to a different aspect. Now, I know you all, Steve Nash to coach the Nets has raised eyebrows, because many feel as though they could have hired a black coach. So I'm not gonna lie, they should have. I cannot recall the coach that they actually passed up on, but I mean, so what's going on? They should have, gave a person of color, the front seats to coach. I mean, hey, and then people were talking about that Steve Nash doesn't really have the experience to coach. I mean, but they could have hired a black coach. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, there were absolutely quite a few different black coaches that were more than qualified for the position. I mean, it's not like this is the first time we've ever seen a great point guard or just a great player come out like straight out of their retirement and get a head coaching job with no experience. So it's not like it's surprising at all. It's just like, who else did you even consider? Like, I didn't even hear about any of the other guys getting interviews for the job. Like, they just like, we want Nash. I mean, last week we talked about if Greg Popovich was going to go there. So, I mean, this wouldn't even have been a discussion if they had hired him. It's the fact that Nash has never coached before, and then he got a juggernaut team. So, I mean, as far as what he's going to do next year, I don't really think the Nets are going to be as good as everyone thinks they are, because Durant's still coming off of this Achilles injury. He's not going to be the Slim Reaper like what we've been used to seeing. I think they'll be good. They'll definitely be a playoff team. No way I'm taking the Nets to go to anybody's championship.
Yeah. I like what he has to work with coming in. I don't necessarily agree with the choice of Steve Nash. Like you just mentioned, he hasn't coached anywhere before here in the NBA. And Jason Kidd, he was the same way. He got a job, turned out to be a pretty decent coach. But I just felt like it was a lot of talent on the bench before you could have picked Steve Nash. I hate to always resort to color because I don't want to sometimes believe that that's the case. You know what I mean? But it almost looks
Seems
like
obvious.
it because you got so many people of color as far as coaches on the bench that's in line for head coaching positions, and this guy come in out of nowhere with no coaching experience over those guys, and here he is blessed with the talent he has with the Nets. You give him the keys to the dang Lamborghini or the Bentley.
No experience,
with no experience, and to me that leaves like a sour taste in my mouth, man. I don't understand why they do that, man. And it's nothing against Steve Nash. Nothing against Steve Nash, but it is what it is, man. I just feel that way.
Okay, well, all right. Well, good answers, gentlemen. All right, so number 2, Hall of Famer, running back Adrian Peterson to the Lions. So how do we feel about that? I take it to you again.
He almost had 900 yards last season.
Okay.
And, I'm one of those guys, maybe it's being old school, whatever. I don't like the pass-happy stuff. So when I see a guy like Adrian Peterson still getting opportunities, still in the league, showing running backs even at an old age you could be productive, because a lot of them get dumped off. You see them holding out for contracts and stuff. And I'm one to believe that it's not just the quarterbacks who get the job done. You got the offensive line. You got a pretty good running back making the defenses decent. So you got a guy almost 900 yards last year, 5 touchdowns. I think he could come in and maybe be the starter next year. So thumbs up to Adrian Peterson. I feel really strong about this. I'm happy the Hall of Famer is still doing what he's doing. He's showing people, even at an old age, running backs can still get the job done. Give some of these old backs a chance because they could do it if they get the opportunity. Some of these running backs who are free agents right now, they could do it. They're just not getting the opportunity just because of their age. Kudos to Adrian Peterson breaking down walls in this new NFL pass-happy age.
Okay. Yeah, man, I think it's a good look, him going to Detroit. I mean, I would have loved for New England to have picked him up. I think that he's still got plenty of juice left in the tank, and I think Detroit's actually a really good situation for him. I mean, Kerryon Johnson was very successful in that backfield. So, I mean, if that's a 1-2 punch they got, if Matthew Stafford comes back and has a decent year and actually gets back into the swing of things, I think he might be able to help Detroit to at least be, like, palatable this year. We're not saying Detroit's going anywhere, but he can actually make them scary. Like, they might be a team to actually be able to upset a few people over the course of the season. Not mad at it at all.
Yeah, I like the move. Wherever he would have landed would have been fine with me. And the fact that he got another opportunity because he plays at such a high level. So big shouts out to him and what he's done in his career. Don't necessarily know if I agree with a lot of the older backs getting the opportunity because when they fell off, they weren't producing.
Okay.
This guy has always produced, and I think that speaks volumes for him getting that second opportunity or getting the continual opportunities that he's been getting to stay in the league. So I like it.
Right, yeah, and I agree with all of you. I think his nickname was like Freak of Nature. That's what he's known, I guess, like his nickname. But I like this fit. I mean, his athletic ability. You know, it's important to have that veteran leadership to your offense, you know, to be able to grow it. So, I mean, I feel like you can't go wrong, and he should start week 1. So, we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so number 3, Clowney signs a 1-year deal with the Titans. How do we feel about that? I mean, honestly, it seems like it's Christmas for a lot of these NFL players. Signing these contracts is amazing.
Man, I think Jadeveon Clowney is fool's gold. He's only successful
Hold on.
when they have
Oh, we just started. Oh my gosh!
the only time this
Did I
dude
say
balls
something
out when they have a really good defensive end on the other side and he's not the focal point of the defense. When Jadeveon Clowney gets double teamed, he's non-existent. He's good next to J.J. Watt. Like, he needs to go. He should have gone. He should have really, really taken a pay cut and gone to Tampa Bay so he could have played with Jason Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh. He's going to do nothing in Tennessee, and he'll be on a free agent market again next year.
I agree with everything you just said, Feez. I'm not sold on Clowney's. He's an above average guy. He's good, but he doesn't show up like he needs to when it comes to those double teams. It's easy to play against next to Wyatt to be successful in that regard. Then, the money that he got, I'm not sure if he's worth it, but I think you can't argue. It's hard to argue that. So, big shouts out to him. And, who was picked behind him in the draft? Khalil Mack. I think we still love that guy a little more. That guy showing up. He deserves every penny.
He makes the
Did
most
give
noise.
Toronto another game?
It's tied.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, look what we have here.
Oh, they must have called a loose ball.
Oh. Oh, wait, no.
Close.
Not a foul.
No.
Did you want to, I think you had something to say. Yeah, he had something to say. He had something to say.
To me, and I'm glad Clowney fired his agent. I'm glad I seen he did that.
Okay.
Think about Clowney's the health issues, the 2 meniscus tears, the knee strains, the back issues. He's not the sexy player. He's not the sack specialist. He's a little bit overrated. He has to live up to how hype he was. I'll acknowledge that. But Feez, you guys are talking about him. Mike, y'all talk about him like he's a bum.
No, I said he's good.
Well.
I said he's good.
Gold. He plays well when he's in a defense that has other good players.
He's not the best. I'm just saying,
good.
no, he plays good. He can play good in any system.
Okay.
He's just not the sack guy, and he can't stay healthy. So $15 million is validated.
Yeah,
Why isn't that a long? See, my problem is this right here. I'm not saying it should be a long-term deal, but 1-year contract. I still have an issue with that. But the money, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
If he's healthy, he's gonna produce.
Right, yeah.
He might not. He ain't the sack guy. You're right. You guys are right. I think that's what y'all alluding to. He's not the sack
He
guy.
had one big game in Seattle
You see
in the whole season.
Check the playoff game against Philly, man. He played well. I seen him. He was getting us in the backfield. Did he get the sacks? No, but he opens up the defense for other guys.
I didn't call him a bum.
Should he have more sacks? Yes, he should have more sacks.
It's like I kind of did a little bit. Y'all kind of did a little bit.
On the other side,
Pretty much.
And you know what about Vic Beasley? I don't think Vic is that bad. I blame Dan Quinn on that because Dan took him under his wing. He said all that stuff in training camp. And what happened? He threw Vic under the bus. That's how I feel about it.
Oh, wow. Well, right.
Whether you went to the Super Bowl, whether you went to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
Vic led the league in sacks.
Wow. Well, this is a hot topic right here. I see.
And Brian Cox.
Well, okay. Well, the Titans. I mean, they rebuilt their team, and as you see, the success they had last year, right?
Great defense.
Right. Clowney, he's reunited with his defensive coordinator coach, right? Michael Vrabel. So I guess we'll see how he does with Vic Beasley. Only time will tell, right?
Yep.
All right. So number 4. Oh yes, number 4. My favorite wideout. Not like that. Not like that. I'm saying like he fine. But let me get into it like he fine. Like, all right.
Julio.
No,
I'm like,
I mean, most definitely.
Don't
Julio
Julio
gonna
play
be
for your team?
He do, but I can't. You got it.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm sorry.
Never heard a Falcons fan say that.
Okay, I'm gonna give you. I need a Cardinals jersey anyway. Does DeAndre Hopkins deserve his massive 2-year, $54.5 million extension? Ladies and gentlemen, how do we feel about that? Is he deserving of that money?
I mean, he's been a top 2 or 3 wide receiver in the league for quite a few years. He's absolutely earned it. It was time for him to get paid. He had an unfortunate situation happen out there in Houston. I mean, I know it seemed ridiculous, but he just was not getting along with Bill O'Brien. So that whole thing sent him packing. Arizona's like, yo, we really got a guy that we're not going to let go. I mean, I'm surprised his extension was only 2 years, to tell you the truth. I figured he'd get a bigger deal. Not bigger as far as the money, but longer, like more years for the same amount of annual income. But yeah, that's definitely he's earned it. I mean, that dude has like the highest catch percentage of any player, any wide receiver in the league. He's big time.
Most deaf.
He deserves it. I have nothing bad to say about that guy. He's big time. He shows up every week, and he's grimy with it. So, that's my speed.
Definitely deserves the contract. I think Arizona, I don't know how good they'll be, but offensively, Christian Kirk, you have Larry Fitzgerald. We know what he could do. He's still the vet. He can still put up numbers. And then you bring in a guy like Hopkins, which big mistake. Like you were saying, Feez, I cannot believe they let this guy go. Because all this Watson stuff, and I like Watson, all the hype, and he's from Georgia, Gainesville. You shout out to him. I'm not hating. I'm just saying this hurts him. This does not make him better. This hurts him. Don't be surprised if Kyler Murray has a huge year. Okay. Because he has 3 legit guys he could throw the ball to. I'm happy about it. And then you got the running back Drake in the backfield. A guy who got you 600-plus yards last year and 8 touchdowns. I think it'll open up for him. I like Arizona's offense next year. I don't know if it'll translate to a lot of wins, but offensively, Kyler Murray, watch. He might even have a better year than Watson. He might.
Wow.
He's got more weapons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess it's my turn, ladies and gentlemen. I got to come with it, right? Well, I mean, y'all, DeAndre Hopkins, like, no shade to Julio Jones. Like, of course, that's no more my receiver. But D-Hop, like, he the man. But I'm not going to lie. He caught my attention, I think, in week 8 in 2018 when he made the acrobatic catch up on his leg. That was fine. And then, I mean, y'all, just let alone from that, as a wideout, he's quick, he's sharp. Runs great routes, has reliable hands. And then in that season, he went, I think he had 115 catches without a single drop. Like, who does that?
Beast.
Who does that? So, I mean, him and Kyler Murray, they're definitely gonna make some noise this season. So, I mean, he the best, but he's deserving of it. So, I'm done. I rest some case.
Everybody's in agreement at the table.
Oh my gosh.
That's a rarity.
Falcons Nation says DeAndre Hopkins is better than Julio Jones. How about that?
I never said that. I said I'm a fan.
You just said he's the best.
Falcon community's going to attack you.
As you wear a Ridley jersey.
Y'all still love me, okay? It's just, okay. Anyways, okay, so our last question. Lakers/Rockets game 4 moves up to 7 p.m. to avoid the NFL season opener. Is this a good move or not early enough? What do you all think?
I don't think it's early enough. I mean, I know they didn't want to move it up too far because 7 p.m. start means it's coming on at 4 o'clock on the West Coast, and it's the Lakers, so that's where their fans are that are trying to watch the game. However, the NFL game starts at 8:20. That game starts at 7 o'clock. By 8:20, it'll be halftime. The second half of that game is going to have to compete with the season opener with Kansas City coming out at home. Like, I think they should have pushed it back at least 2.5 hours before the NFL game started, like they do with the NFL, with the other NBA games. It's not early enough. Like, you should not try to compete with the NFL. There's going to be a lot of people that do still watch the NBA game because it's a playoff game, but there are going to be a lot of people that tune right on away. If you don't have a second TV, there'll be a lot of people. They'll be like, oh, halftime? Oh, Kansas City's on. Football's back. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, yes.
Yeah, we got let me get a shot. What up, Super Rio? James Dockery. What's going on, you guys? Your boy says Wesley Davis says Hopkins has to produce in that system first.
Okay, I can see that.
True.
He right.
He right. He right.
I'm just that was
He
his
said
comment.
first.
See if he'll.
It's an adjustment, but
He
it
act
should
like
be a
he's
good
a
one.
rookie. Like first, like, are we discrediting everything he's done in Houston until we see what he does in Arizona?
Call in,
What is
big
he
guy.
even saying?
678-871-9602. Call in. Speak
We'll
your piece,
see.
man. We want to hear about it.
But is it my turn on this Lakers
Oh,
thing?
it doesn't matter.
I disagree with you, Feez. To me, LeBron James is the main attraction in sports right now. Am I lying? I know it's the NFL opening
Nobody's
season.
the main attraction over the NFL.
No, I think
NFL does.
I don't think they should even have moved it at all. Because to me, LeBron James is the most popular athlete right now in sports. Whether you like him or not, that's what it is. So at the end of the day, people gonna watch the Lakers regardless, first of all. Second, it's a playoff game. You got James Harden, James versus James. Yeah, they're cocky and they feel like, you know what, our game can run through it. People are just gonna watch. Because you know why I think that, man? Because even when LeBron's not balling, I've been on friends with some of my friends who, regardless, they love LeBron. Any little thing he does, they're gonna watch. So it's like
If
they're
that
gonna
was
watch
the
that
case,
game, man.
If that was the case, it wouldn't be starting at 7. They moved it up to try to get out of the way.
A little bit, but like you said, if they were completely worried, they would have got out of that slot. Period.
No, they tried to be courteous to the West Coast fans because that's already 4 o'clock. The game is going to start while they at work.
But they're still cocky though. For 7, that's still a cocky start. Second half is the most important, right?
That's as far back as they could afford to move it.
I think
I don't think they're
they
worried.
moved it strictly because the NFL are the big dogs on the block.
Yeah,
And they
I'm gonna lie to
understand
you.
the numbers, even though it's playoff season, even though that game is what it is, I think it's going to split down the middle. If you're a Laker fan and a big time basketball person and you like the NBA, like me, I'm going to be back and forth. You know what I'm saying?
Which game is more important though, Mike?
Of
Doesn't
course,
matter.
to me, this game is more. The
Yeah.
Lakers game would be more important, but it's the first game of the NFL season, so it's like, hey,
ratings gonna be
you
up.
know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Football is football. Like I said, they're the big dog on campus, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So
No, that's true.
You know, you move your game back a little while for a reason. That's out of respect.
I have a question for you real quick. So if that game tomorrow, Lakers get blown up by 20, let's say LeBron does a 0 in the fourth quarter again, and let's say Houston beats Kansas City, what topic are they starting with on ESPN, some of these sports shows?
They're starting
What's wrong with
the-
LeBron?
No, if Houston
What's wrong with LeBron?
If Houston beats Kansas City, they're talking about that. If Pat Mahomes puts up 50 points and 5 touchdowns, they're talking about football.
I don't think so,
It's
man.
not a finals game. It's the semis. It's the Western Conference semis. If this was the NBA finals, then yes, you'd have an argument. There are plenty more games after this. This is the first NFL game. That's getting
Series is
watched.
long, too.
I agree. It's getting watched. I just think, man, people are so in love with this LeBron James fiasco that's going on. Whatever he does, he scores 0 in the fourth tomorrow. That's the opening story. What's wrong with LeBron James? And you open up with some of their main broadcasters talking about. Then they go to the game. I'm not saying it's not important. I love the NFL like you guys do. I'm just having a little debate with y'all. I think the Lakers game is more important.
Charles Barkley was on TNT last night and said they should have made it earlier to get it out of the way of the NFL game.
Here's my thing about Charles, though. Remember, he has his little riff with LeBron James. I just think it's a little biased.
That has nothing to do with
I-
LeBron. He knows just as well as everyone else does that NFL is king.
Yeah, NFL holds more weight than NBA. But I mean, that's just me talking because I guess I like football more than basketball.
Chuck
But hey,
full of boo boo. I don't really, you know what I'm saying. He's known for saying off the cuff stuff. I
Yeah.
think as far as the importance of the game, to me, because I'm an NBA guy and that's my team. If it had been any other team, I believe football would dominate. But the fact that it will be the Lakers game, people will be split down the middle. They'll be back and forth with the remote.
most def. All right, ladies and gentlemen, since we're talking about the NFL, we are finally about to move on into talking about our NFL Week 1 matchups. So the wait is finally over, ladies and gentlemen. Football is back.
Tomorrow night.
Yep. Tune in. So for the remainder of the show, we're gonna cover the 16 NFL matchups and make predictions starting tomorrow night. But to start it off, the defending Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, are hosting the Houston Texans. Now, this will be a great game to watch because, I mean, you know, quarterbacks. I mean, 2 of the youngest black highest paid quarterbacks battling out. As you know, Patrick Mahomes signed his contract, but then recently, D. Watson signed his contract for $460 million. So, who we picking, gentlemen?
Man, well, I mean, just looking at what we got here, Kansas City is favored by 10. I mean, that's a huge line on the game. Kansas City overcame a 24-point deficit in the playoffs last year against Houston in the divisional round and beat them boys 51-31. I mean, you were down 24-0 and you won 51-31. That's major. D-Hop had 9 catches for 118 yards in this game. Not there. Carlos Hyde was the leading rusher for Houston in that game. Not there. So, I mean, with both of them gone, Kansas City's going to cover this spread with no problem. KC wins in the opener easy.
I believe KC wins. I'm torn between the two quarterbacks because I like them both equally as much, but I just think they don't. Houston doesn't have enough for KC here in this season opener.
Now,
I think they'll probably win by a bigger margin than 10, actually.
I agree with both of y'all. I think Kansas City, this is an easy game for them. I'm still wondering about why Hopkins is not on Houston. I don't know about the coach. Why does that happen? I want an explanation for real. Like, why is a guy in his prime that good? You get rid of him, and then you got the leading rusher who's gone too. So Houston's defense is going to be tested, and I think there's a lot of pressure on Deshaun Watson because I know a lot of guys who are saying, you know what, he's good, and because of the quarterback market, he's going to get his money. But at the end of the day, what has he done in the playoffs? I know he's only 24 years old, going to be 25, but what has he done? To me, you should win a Super Bowl before you get that type of money. I know how the market is, but I want to see this is really going to prove what he could do this season.
Yeah.
I want to see what he could do.
He's already in the top 5 for you got 2 quarterbacks tomorrow night. Between Houston and KC in that game, those 2 quarterbacks are in the top 5 for MVP.
I don't know. I don't know without Hopkins. I don't know.
You got Russell. You got
I'm not confident without Hopkins with him.
I don't think Watson is an MVP.
I don't know. I have to see. Hopefully, I don't want to be a hater, but hopefully, I don't see it without a top receiver. But we'll see.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with both of you. I mean, I'll pick the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, because just more experience. You know what I'm saying? So our next one is, oh my gosh, the hometown favorite. The home team Atlanta Falcons host the Seattle Seahawks. Who wins this NFC matchup and why?
Well, I mean, last season Seattle came to Atlanta, jumped out to a 24-0 lead to only win 27-20. So they did let Atlanta crawl back in the game. It looks by all accords why you would easily pick Seattle with Russell Wilson being an easy candidate for MVP next season. But if I can remind you, just rewind the clock just a little bit. Seattle, like 3 of the last 4 seasons, has started off at 500 or lower. They regularly start the season terrible. 2018, they were 2-3. 2017, 2-2. They started off 4-1 in 2016, but they played a bunch of scrub-sorry teams to start the season. 2015, 2-4. They don't start well. Like, the teams are 2-2 head-to-head over the last 4 seasons, and Atlanta is 2-3 in season openers since Dan Quinn has been there. So they haven't fared well in openers, but they're 1-1 opening the season at home. I say all that to say I don't trust Seattle in week 1. Seattle never starts the season strong. They usually wait about 5 to 6 weeks before they look like Seattle. So I'm going to take ATL. Atlanta is actually a 1-point dog in the game. So I got Atlanta to cover the spread.
That's shocking.
Yeah, I know y'all didn't expect
it. It's shocking. That's really shocking. I was like, am I hearing that?
I'm going with my guy, my boys. I'm a home team guy, the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm picking those guys to win for some of the reasons Feez just mentioned. Seattle is notorious for being terrible in the month of September. They seem to pick up the pieces as their season progressed, and that's why I'm going with Atlanta. And I think, hopefully, I'm banking on my boys to pick up where they left off last year. You know what I'm saying? With that same energy coming out the gate and punching Seattle in the mouth and giving us something to cheer about here as fans out of the gate.
All right.
I'm going with the Falcons as well, so I have to agree with both of y'all. Falcons at home, they're dangerous. I think that the pressure on Dan Quinn, Matt Ryan, this offense, I like the Falcons. I think they'll have a big lead, and then Seattle, they're always known for those slow starts too. I agree with both of y'all with that. But I think in the fourth quarter, they'll tighten things up. But I'll take the Falcons in week 1.
Most def. I mean, the Falcons, y'all. Come on, all day. I got the jersey on. I got Calvin Ridley jersey on. You know what I'm saying? But yes, anyways, let me finish, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, we're gonna take the Falcons. I'm gonna take my home team. But I know one thing. Now Seattle secondary is something to watch because we have Quinton Dunbar and they just acquired Jamal Adams, so that's going to be tough for Matt, Julio, and Gurley. So hey, that's something that we got to watch out for. Okay. All right, so we're moving right along. So the MVP, Lamar Jackson, and the Baltimore Ravens host the division rival Cleveland Browns, who they split with last season. Who wins round 1?
Man, but just like you said, they split last season. Cleveland actually went to Baltimore and blew them out last year, 40-25. It was real ugly in week 4. And Baltimore came back in week 16 and they returned the favor. Mm-hmm. In week 4, we saw Baker ball out. That was one of the best games he's had in his career. Threw for 342 and a touchdown, had a 102 rating. And if you'll remember, Nick Chubb destroyed him. Went for 165 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jarvis Landry, 8. What I will say, I would take, if you're betting on the spread, I would take Cleveland. I don't think Baltimore is going to beat them by 10, but I am taking Baltimore to win the game. Okay. Baltimore wins, they don't cover.
I think Baltimore wins, but at the same time, I'm a little iffy for a lot of the reasons you just mentioned. Those divisional games can be pretty tricky. And as a New England fan, I'm sure dealing with Miami, that it's us here in Atlanta with the Falcons as well, facing New Orleans. Those games, a lot of times, even though the better team is the better team, it's just that rival spirit that takes place, and they're unpredictable. So, but I'll still take Baltimore.
I'll take the Ravens to Cleveland. To me, some of their off-the-field distractions. There's some new stuff about Odell. I'm not going to go into details.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's for a different day.
It made my day for that day, but I like Baltimore. I think they'll cover the spread. I think that Lamar Jackson wants to prove he could do it again. There's still a lot of guys hating on him, saying, you know what, he's not going to last that long. He's not going to last till 30.
Oh, them haters.
I'll take Baltimore. They'll cover the spread at least. Cleveland, to me, I don't know what we're going to get out of the new head coach. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Baker Mayfield is at this point. I need to see what Odell is at this point as well, too. I need to see some consistency out of their offense. Agreed. But I'll say Baltimore.
Agreed.
Yeah, I have no faith in Baker Mayfield.
Agreed. Because ever since he got drafted, it's just like, where you been at? But I take the Ravens over the Browns because I feel like the Cleveland Browns, they need some soul searching. I mean, because honestly, they have a talented receiving corps, but it's just the chemistry that's missing. But, the Ravens all day, that's an easy pick.
Double OT.
Yep. All right, so let's move on. The Buffalo Bills open at home with their new wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, against the Jets. Will the Bills have any problem handling Sam Darnold and the Jets?
No, I don't really think they will. I know this is Jansen's squad we talking about over here. He's definitely a Jets guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. They split last season. They played the first and the last game last year. Both games were very, very close. The Bills won by 1 point in week 1, and the Jets won by 7 in week 17. Week 17, Buffalo already had their playoff position solidified, could not advance any farther. So Matt Barkley played week 17. Otherwise, Buffalo probably would have won both games. But Buffalo's a 5.5-point favorite. Well, when Sam Darnold shows up, Le'Veon Bell shows up, every blue moon, the Jets really have a really good game. And they played 2 tight games against the Bills last year. But I don't think they're going to come out and show up against the Bills in week 1. The Bills are coming off a playoff campaign. They really have a lot to prove. Jared Allen is coming into his own. Their defense is easily a top 5 in the league. I think they handle the Jets. The Bills cover the spread easy.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills simply because of the defense.
Okay.
I'm taking
and they were a playoff team last year. They come off a really nice season. I wasn't expecting them to be that good, but yeah.
I'm taking the Bills as well. I think the Bills have a good chance of winning the division this year. My problem with the Jets is this: Sam Darnold, he turns the ball over a lot, and the Bills have one of the top defenses, like Feez said, and you were saying too. And that concerns me about the Jets because I could see a pick 6 in this game. So their offense isn't really that good. If Josh Allen, to me, just doesn't turn the ball over, he does what he does, or even if he wants to be a game manager that day, I don't think it's going to be that hard for him to beat the Jets because this Jets offense, we don't know what to expect from them. They have weaknesses at the wide receiving core, weaknesses on the offensive line. And Le'Veon Bell, I loved him in Pittsburgh, thought he was going to do big things for my Jets. I want to say they'll win, but I just don't see it happening. I don't know what this Jets offense is. Last year, they were one of the worst in the league. Once in a blue moon, they had good games. What are we going to see this year? I trust the Bills defense. I trust the Bills offense more than the Jets. So I'm gonna go with the Bills.
Yeah, the Jets, they do have inconsistency. So, I mean, the Buffalo Bills, I like that they acquired Stephon Diggs. I feel like that was a good move, you know. So, yeah. All right, the new look, Carolina Panthers debuted at home against the relocated Las Vegas Raiders. Will the Panthers come out firing?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are really buying what the Raiders are selling. I mean, they won 7 games last year. Like, I think they might have been 8-8. I don't know, but they beat 7 teams that picked in the top 15. They didn't beat anybody for real. 5 of the teams they beat picked in the top 10. I mean, we're looking at Carolina. They added Matt Rule and Joe Brady to their coaching staff. Teddy Bridgewater is coming from a system that Joe Brady is accustomed to running, so the offense is comfortable for him. I mean, they had 7 defensive draft picks. That's all Carolina did was beef the defense. So they went for defense in the draft. They brought in a whole new organization as far as the top part is concerned with head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback. And then you got Christian McCaffrey coming off of an MVP candidacy season. Like, I think Carolina is going to come out and beat the Raiders. I have no faith in the Raiders to do anything. The line on the game is a pick 'em. I don't even see why it's even. I guess it's because they really don't know what Carolina is. Carolina's at home. They're going to beat the Raiders.
They're going to beat them to a pulp. The Raiders will be garbage next season. They won't even be a 500 team. And the Raiders, the Panthers, with McCaffrey coming off the seat, you know he's going to be who he is. You know, so big shouts out to Panthers. I'm already putting them in the W column.
Okay. All right. And for me, I say the Panthers. I mean, because I like how they got Teddy Bridgewater as their quarterback. I mean, you know, this is a new system, new head coach, new team. So now the Raiders, I mean, they have a good offense, but you know, the defense good. Well, the defense is okay, but I feel like the Panthers would take this win.
I like the Raiders in this one at home. Derek Carr 70% completion percentage last year.
Carolina.
Oh, they're at Carolina. Okay,
Yeah.
Still, I'm taking the Raiders. I think Derek Carr has a lot to prove this year. People don't believe in him. He's not that bad.
Bold pick.
Okay, I'm taking the Raiders with this one.
Okay.
I think their defense will step up. Too many new pieces for the Panthers. They got rid of a lot of guys. New head coach, new quarterback. It takes time. Plus the
rebuild.
pandemic. I don't think the Raiders are that good. I agree with you guys on that one, but I like the Raiders in week 1.
That's almost disrespectful for you to say the Raiders are not really that good to come at home against the Panthers like that, man.
I don't think the Panthers are that good either, but
I think
Better
they're
than
better than the Raiders.
All right. So let's move right along. So the Chicago Bears named Mitch Trubisky as the starter for their opener at Detroit against their new toy, Adrian Peterson. So who wins this division battle?
Yeah, well, last year Chicago swept the season series. Both games were really, really tight. Detroit added AP. They drafted DeAndre Swift. They beefed up the offensive line. I mean, I think Matt Stafford really has a lot to prove. I mean, Detroit, their record generally doesn't actually indicate how good the team is. Detroit is one of those teams that loses so many close games where there's usually one play or one bad call that is the difference between like half of the games they play over the course of the season. And this happens every single time they play Green Bay, they get cheated out of a game. But I think Detroit starts off at home with the win. This game is a pick 'em also. I'm taking Detroit. There's no spread to cover.
I'm taking Detroit, not sold on Mitch Trubisky. Detroit has always been a grimy team. They lose a lot of close games, like Feez said, but they grimy. They stay on the grind, and they never die. So I think they're going to pull it out against Chicago.
I don't think Mitch should be the starting quarterback for the Bears, but again, Detroit has lost a lot of close games last year. It's week 1. Division games are usually tight. I got the Bears. I think the Bears, there's a lot of pressure on this team. I think Mitch, he'll fool people. Week 1, he'll have a decent game. I don't think he's a good quarterback. He'll show his behind later in the season, but week 1, they could beat Detroit. Detroit's going to find a way to lose this game.
Ooh.
Wow, find
right.
a way. Wow.
This is second bold prediction, right?
Ooh, yeah, that is.
Wow.
Definitely revisit this next week.
Yeah, we definitely. Okay. But no, I really feel like the Bears, because last season they had a pretty good season. They were slept on. I'm not gonna lie, we're sleeping on them. But I guess to pick, I'm gonna be with the Bears. I'm gonna be with him.
Oh, you
know?
make a big bold pick too. 2 and 2 at the table
so,
on that one.
Yeah, we
All right.
the Bears. Okay. All right, so Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts open on the road against the on the rebuild project that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. How much will the Colts win by? A lot, too.
Yeah, I mean, the line is Indy by 7. I think that's a disrespectful line to what Jacksonville has done to their roster. I mean, they
Man.
split games last season, but Jacksonville just gutted the roster on top of the fact that Indy picked up Phillip Rivers. They got Jacob Eason backing him up. Jonathan Taylor, who should have easily been, like, he should have gotten drafted way higher than what he did, but he's a primetime running back. They drafted Michael Pittman Jr., Like, the Indy wins this game easily. The 7-point spread is nothing. Put your money all on Indy. You probably won't even win anything because I'm pretty sure that Vegas is not paying on Jacksonville losing.
Yeah, I'm picking Indy, man. That's my guy.
No bold pick on this one. I got Indy. There's no way I could find a way to pick Jacksonville to win this one.
Right, 'cause
Getting rid of their whole team. I think they're tanking for Lawrence, but yeah, the Colts, I think there's a lot to prove with Phillip Rivers. He wants to show he can step in and still be a quality quarterback. I think he feels some type of way that the Chargers just said, bye, we don't think you're that good because of all the turnovers last year. So I think they'll have a good week 1 and at least by 10 points, maybe 17.
Warm-up game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is an easy one. I mean, the Colts all day because literally everybody left from the Jaguars. Like Leonard Fournette, you see, that's the most recent move. So it's just like the Jacksonville Jaguars has nobody. Like, it's ghost town. So, I mean, the Colts, that should be an easy win. So Easy. All righty, ladies and gentlemen. So, in one of only 2 matchups between the 2019 playoff teams, the Green Bay Packers traveled to Minnesota to face the Vikings. So, can former MVP Aaron Rodgers follow up a 13-13 campaign with a strong win? I hope he don't choke.
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay was 13-3 last year. They were the beneficiary of a very favorable schedule, which, I mean, is of no fault of their own. The schedule just rotates. But they're not going to repeat that 13-3 season. Minnesota is favored by 3 in this game at home. Green Bay swept the series last year. I mean, they played week 2 at Green Bay and then week 16 at Minnesota. Week 16 was on Monday Night Football. The week 2 game was late. And why I cite the times is because this is a 1 o'clock home game for the Vikings. The Vikings are 6-1 at home at 1 o'clock all of last season. That's including the wild card game against the Saints. When they play at home at 1 o'clock, they are money. Kirk Cousins balls out when they play at 1. And why I say it's significant that they play at 1? Because that game is not on prime time. He doesn't have a spotlight on him. He's not being watched like that. When they play on Monday Night Football, they play Sunday night. They play the midday game where that game is on Fox gets the NFC games. So when they get those games, Kirk Cousins doesn't show up. It's really a whole thing about him showing up in primetime games. This is a 1 o'clock game. Minnesota's favored by 3. Minnesota's going to win.
All right, man. I'm torn on this one. I'm really not sure. I would normally pick Green Bay, but I'm not sure if Aaron Rodgers is a happy camper these days. Don't know how he's going to feel to the one way or the other. Like, coming out with something to prove because they drafted that quarterback the way they did, spelling his outro essentially, or will he not do so well because of it? So I think I'm still going to take Aaron Rodgers for this one.
I'll take Minnesota. I like them at home. I think they'll get the running game going. Kirk Cousins proved to an extent that he could win on the road in the playoffs. I think it'll extend to that this season. I think Minnesota, they have a chip on their shoulder because people aren't looking at them as a serious team that could win the Super Bowl. So I think Kirk Cousins is going to show up to play. I know they let Stephon Diggs. He's not on the team anymore, but I like Minnesota at home in week 1.
Okay. Bold prediction again. I mean, even though
that one.
Yeah.
even though I did say Aaron Rodgers would choke, but I mean, could y'all see them possibly being in Super Bowl contention?
No.
Who, Green Bay?
Yeah.
Maybe.
They
We
got
gotta see.
annihilated by San Francisco twice last season. Once in the regular season, once in the playoffs.
I think a lot riding on how Aaron Rodgers is this season.
Yeah, he's-
you know,
he's-
and
Yeah,
his,
It's pressure on him.
Thinks Aaron Rodgers might be pretty good this year, and it's not a guarantee San Francisco is going to be the same team they were last year. And more might be on Jimmy Garoppolo's shoulders this year, especially the NFC. A lot of pretty good teams. So, yeah, I could say they're one of those teams. I'm not saying they're the favorite, but they're up there.
Okay.
They can do some things. Aaron Jones is a pretty good running back. You don't get enough credit.
All right. Well, we're moving right along. Cam Newton and the New England Patriots start the league's toughest schedule with a warm-up at home against the Miami Dolphins. This is an easy one. right. Fees, okay. Right, like, okay. What can we learn from this matchup? I already know who's gonna go first.
I mean, I don't think we won't learn anything from this matchup. New England's favored by 5.5 at home against Miami. They split the season series last year, which they always split the season series. New England generally wins against Miami at home, and it's not a game. And then when they go to South Beach, they get beat in some ridiculous game. This one's at New England. Fitzmagic is not going to make anything happen. We'll probably get a bunch of people thinking that New England is looking like something that we actually can't confirm yet because Miami is Miami. So New England will win. They'll cover the spread, and we'll know nothing more than we know now.
I'll take New England solely because of my guy Cam. You know, I think he's definitely playing with a chip on his shoulder. So I don't think Miami will show us one way or the other what type of team New England will be moving forward, unless they just come out and annihilate those guys like 20 or something like that. But that's my pick. And your boy Colin Cowherd, man, he really disrespected New England today. I know Feez rock with him. He said he didn't think. He says New England will be just as bad as their 2000 season. I think they won like 5 games.
5-11 in 2000.
Yep, fifth in the division. So he really like went in on them. Like I was surprised at that.
Wow.
Disrespecting Cam.
Fifth in the division just sounds weird, but they hadn't done the realignment yet. It was AFC Central then.
Like y'all said, I got the Patriots in this one. Interested to see, like you guys are, what Cam is going to do, what this offense is going to look like. Essentially, shoot, if Cam wasn't even playing, I'd still pick the Patriots. I think their defenses could do enough, and whatever the running game is, to beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a rebuilding team. They're young. I don't think they're even going to be in this game. It should be an easy win, 20-3 maybe. Patriots to win easily.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, y'all gotta admit, yeah, this is an easy win. I mean, it's the Patriots, unfortunately. But yeah, I do pick the Patriots to win over Miami because, I mean, you know, Cam Newton, he has to come with it, and he's proven to everybody that, you know, he can be that number one quarterback, right? All right. So, moving right along, the Philadelphia Eagles open against the division rivals Washington football team. I have to used to saying it. Any chance Washington makes this competitive? So, what do you all think?
No, not at all. Philly swept the season series last year. They're going to sweep it again this year. I mean, Washington is starting. They're starting Dwayne Haskins. It's going to be bad. I mean, Wentz is going to have people riding the Wentz train again. D-Jack is back. Jalen Reagor will probably have a pretty decent debut as a rookie. Philly will roll.
Yeah, I'm going with Philly. Plain and simple.
Okay.
Washington football team, they're not a good team. I'm not a big Eagles guy. I don't really believe in Carson Wentz and his train, but they'll do enough to beat Washington. Washington's not a good football team. They're still finding out who they are. They got a new head coach in Ron Rivera.
What up, Ashton Mack?
So I'm going to go with Philly in this one, at least by 10.
Okay. All right. Well, Philly, I mean, Jalen Hurts, I mean, hey, you know, he
ain't going to play this week.
He not, but, you know, you never know. We'll see.
Week three.
Okay, yeah, we're going to give him week 3. I don't know about week 1, that's pushing it. But I do have Philly over the Washington football team because the Washington football team, they have a lot of drama going on. But anyways, let's move right along. So, the Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, first pick, Joe Burrow, makes his debut as his Cincinnati Bengals host, Tyrod Taylor, and the LA Chargers. What should we expect from Burrow? We should expect a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, like the Chargers, like a lot of people are really, really high on them. I don't really understand why. they're so high on them. I mean, they got a couple of big names
Tyrod
on both sides of the ball. I mean, Tyrod Taylor's not even really a big name. Joey Bosa, or whichever Bosa boy is over there, he's one of the guys that makes you think like, oh, okay, yeah, their defense is ready. I don't really see the Chargers doing much. I mean, they let Melvin Gordon go. They let Phillip Rivers go. Tyrod Taylor has proven to be a serviceable quarterback, but he's really been a journeyman backup, like bridge gap guy. He's just there to hold it down until they put Justin Herbert in. So, I mean, I really could see Joe Burrow having a big debut game against these guys. They got T. Higgins, A.J. Green, John Ross is healthy. Joe Mixon, he's really emerging as a solid back. I think Cincinnati's going to come out. They're a 3.5-point dog in this game. I'm taking Cincinnati definitely with the points, but I got Cincinnati straight up.
Yeah, I like Cincy only because I'm a fan of Burrows. I think I think the hype, he's overhyped for the NFL, but for this game, I think he'll do well in his debut.
I got the Chargers in this one, and it's really just because their defensive line is just so much better than what the Cincinnati offensive line is. It's going to be a new experience for Joe Burrow, and I think you got a guy like Joey Bosa. He's going to go off. I think Melvin Ingram, he's got his contract. He's going to do big things. Chris Harris Jr. in the secondary, he's a vet. He's been on championship teams. He's going to do what he has to do. And Casey Hayward Jr., he's a baller too in that secondary. I don't think Cincinnati's offense is mature enough to deal with the defense of the Chargers. I don't believe that much in Tyrod Taylor either, but he'll be, I guess, good enough to beat a Cincinnati team that's young, inexperienced, not much talent on that offensive line at all.
Okay. It's kind of a hard one for me. I mean, you know what? I'll be risky. I'll go with Cincinnati. I mean, just like you said, he's young and he has to get adjusted to everything. But one thing I can say, Tyrod Taylor, I know he should fix the LA Chargers turnover ratio because that was pretty bad last season. So I'll pick Cincinnati with this one. Prediction. All right. Oh gosh, here we go. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers square off in the game of the week at the New Orleans Saints. Who comes out on top in this heavyweight division battle?
This one is real right here.
This is gonna be good.
The spread is the Saints by 4.5. The Saints swept the season series last year. They added Emmanuel Sanders, but we got these locker room issues that could potentially be there with Drew Brees and all the black players because of that nonsense that Drew Brees came out with. They swept it under the table in the forefront, but that doesn't mean that there's not an issue internally. They're not going to let us know that. And we also know that since then, Tampa Bay added Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, and Shady McCoy. In those games against the Saints, Jameis threw 4 picks. Now, your boy Tom Brady is 3-1 against the Saints in his career. The last 2 times they played him, he put up 30 with Austin Collie and Kimbrell Tompkins. He's clearly got better weapons than that. The last time they played, he put up 447 yards for 3 touchdowns and had a 139.6 rating. So, I mean, he's very comfortable playing against that Saints defense. Like, he's experienced much success against them and not had anywhere near the weaponry what he has now. The best weapon he had in any of those games is still on his team because Gronk came back. So I'm taking Tampa to win this game. The spread is in favor of New Orleans, so clearly they'll cover because I got Tampa winning the game at New Orleans.
Okay.
I'm taking Tampa. Clearly because I'm an Atlanta fan.
This is a hate pick.
Anything else would be uncivilized. Still a tough pick, even though I'm going with Tampa Bay because I think everything is still new over there for those guys with Tom Brady, Fournette, and all those guys over there with the additions that they've made to the team. So I don't think they're going to come out hitting on all cylinders like everybody thinks. It's still a new way of life. They're going to have to work out some kinks, and I don't know if New Orleans will be the team for them to do it against, but I'm picking Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I like the Saints at home. I think the cover that spread. I want to see what we're going to get out of Carlton Davis. He's one of the corners for Tampa Bay. I want to see he might get tested a lot by Michael Thomas. I want to see what the secondary overall is going to be dealing with New England. Excuse me, not New England, the Saints. Sorry, all that Tom Brady in my head. I think the Bucs though will come out strong on offense. I just don't know what the defense is going to present against the Saints. I think at home, the home crowd, Alvin Kamara just getting paid. I think he'll be a difference maker. It makes some matchup problems for them. I think Michael Thomas will have a huge day and Drew Brees will have a big day. I think it will be a distraction, though, what he said, some of the things he said that I still see some of the players will be thinking about that, and it's a big deal. But
it's going to be something
at the
to
end
watch.
of the day, I think the Saints will win that game.
Something to watch, definitely.
Yeah. But just like you said, it's going to be a dividing locker room with Drew Brees making that statement. But I'll pick the Buccaneers. I mean, you know, even though they are loaded with weapons, especially offensively, which y'all talked about, you know, we'll see. We'll see what they do. But I'll go with the Bucs for this one.
Okay.
All right. So Jimmy G and the runner-up San Francisco 49ers open up their revenge tour hosting a new look Arizona Cardinals offense. Ooh, gonna be scary. Can the Cardinals catch the 49ers with a Super Bowl hangover?
I don't think the 49ers really have the Super Bowl hangovers. Like, man, that was Jimmy G's first season as a starter. He went for about 4,000 yards, 69% completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 102 QB rating, 13-3 in his first year. Like, man, he had a great season. He's got a lot to build on. They did lose Emmanuel Sanders, but they were a run-heavy team anyway. I mean, San Francisco swept the season series last year, won by 10 at home and by 3 on the road. They're at home again. They're favored by 7.5. Even with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think Arizona beats them, but I don't think San Fran will cover that spread. I think the game will be tight. Arizona plays San Francisco very well, so it'll be a close game. San Francisco wins, but not by 7.5.
I think Frisco will come out like a well-oiled machine. Not sure if they'll dominate, like you just mentioned, because of what the Cardinals are bringing. That game will be exciting. I think more excitement on the Cardinal side of the ball than anything. It's going to be scrappy. But I'll pick Frisco.
Oh, okay.
It's a shame it won't be viewed by many because of the fact it comes on at the same time as Tampa and the Saints. Everybody's going to watch that.
You're right.
That's too bad because
Dang,
I think
that's crazy. Why do they do that?
That's crazy because this has to make it to be a big time game. I really want to pick Arizona, but I just know the defensive line of San Francisco is going to show up. Their defense is going to make a couple plays, maybe Murray fumbles or something. So I'm going to go with San Francisco in a tight one, like you guys said. But I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona wins. Really want to pick Arizona, but San Francisco going to win this one.
Okay. I pick San Francisco. They acquired Tavon Austin. I don't know if y'all know that, but they acquired him. But I mean, you know.
League.
Funny. But, I mean, we'll see. I mean, like I said, the Cardinals, they still, you know, even though with D-Hop and, you know, Kyler Murray, their chemistry, we'll see how they go, you know, but I feel like 49ers should have this one. All right.
You got to get these last 3 quick.
The Mike McCarthy era begins Sunday night as the Dallas Cowgirls boys travel to the LA to face the Rams.
You had it right the first
travel
time.
to the LA face the Rams.
The Cowgirls.
Will the Cowgirls live up to the heightened expectations or fold under intense pressure? So what do y'all think?
She called them the Cowgirls twice.
so much-
Dallas is favored by 2.5. I mean, I think all of Dallas's problems were coaching issues last year, just from horrible play calling, especially situationally. With Mike McCarthy there and the addition of CeeDee Lamb coming in with Dak, Zeke, Amari, Michael Gallup. I mean, I think Dallas wins this game. The 2.5 spread is probably kind of low. It's probably just because they're on the road. I mean, the Rams got destroyed 44-21 to the Cowboys last season. It's going to be even worse this time.
Okay.
I pick the Cowboys.
Okay.
I'm going to be quick. I got the Cowboys in this one. The Rams, I don't know. I should even expect that their offense. I'm concerned with that. Shout out to Jalen Ramsey, though, getting paid. That's what's up. Love to see the non-quarterbacks get paid.
Yes, sir. Oh, true.
Yep.
I mean, the Cowgirls, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but I'm going to need for Jerry Jones and them to, with the whole kneeling situation, to get that together. It's a different story for a different day. But, all right, we're moving right along. So, 2 more topics. The first game of a Monday night doubleheader features the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants. Who's taking the first step towards making the playoffs this season?
Yeah, I mean, both teams have sucked for a few years now, but this has been Big Ben's first game back since week 2 of last season. He's going to be rusty. His arm is off. He's got it's a right elbow injury on his throwing arm. I think Daniel Jones is a lot better than what any of us gave him credit for, and Saquon is going to eat. I'm taking the Giants.
Okay.
I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Give me Pittsburgh. I don't think the Giants are a good team. I know Judge, he's making coaches do sprints too, so that's not a good look. So give me Pittsburgh in week 1. It'll be close though, but Pittsburgh in week 1. I don't think Pittsburgh's that good either.
I say Pittsburgh too.
One more point of emphasis on it. Pittsburgh was 3-5 on the road last year. They do not play well on the road. They only beat bad teams. Like, they seem like their defense was transcending and next level, and they're about to be really good this year. They're not. They balled out against a bunch of sorry teams.
Well, they were one game away from the playoffs.
True,
And
but the
even
Giants
though
are
that
a
was
bad
out
team.
Big Ben,
They got a favoring of schedule.
like you said earlier, you don't have
It's not
nothing
their
to do.
fault, but that doesn't mean
Right.
they're going to be great this year.
I didn't say great, but I think they'll do enough tomorrow.
All right. So one last topic, everybody. So Derrick Henry and the surprise Tennessee Titans are taking their talents to the Mile High Stadium against the Denver Broncos with former Super Bowl MVP Von Miller out, which is tragic. Can Denver stop Henry?
They actually can. Last year in Week 6, Denver beat Tennessee 16-0. Derrick Henry only had 28 yards on 15 carries, and that's the game that Tannehill took over as a starter. Only went for 144 yards and an interception. Denver wins.
Okay. All right.
I take Tennessee.
Denver does have a good defense, but I'm going with the Titans in a close one.
Can't breathe up there, man. Like, Mile High Stadium's real. Like, it's not even a world shocker. It's just the fact that Tennessee made such a name for themselves. People are like, oh my God, Denver beat them. Denver can stop them. They're one-dimensional.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go with the Titans. Like I said, they had a sensational year last season. And then with Von Miller out, that's a huge blow. So, that can be a downfall. But I say the Titans.
All right.
Hey. All right. Well.
Outro time.
Y'all got them picks. Y'all know what time it is.
We got finished with all of that.
For all the bettors, the bookies,
Please don't
y'all got them. Write them down. Get your pen and paper. Run that thing back.
Watch out for the Bears.
Go ahead,
Oh, the outro.
Shit, let them know where they can find you, Jansen.
Go find me, Jansen Harris. I love the outro song. Go follow the Just Good Network as well too. I like the song. Drove into it. Appreciate it. Thank the whole Petty Sports team for letting me in here. Kingz Studios as well too. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was fun debating with you guys, and thank you. Hopefully I'll be back.
Always. Well, ladies and gentlemen, glad to be back as usual. You know what to find me on Instagram, Alaygra_Wells24. Check me out. I have golf vlogs that you all can check out, and I'm gonna make some more vlogs, so stay tuned.
Yes, sir. It's your boy FamousFeez. Y'all know what time it is. I make the picks every week. Y'all need to go ahead and get your pen and paper together. Make sure you got my picks written down. If you're trying to win your weekly pick pools, your little job polls, whatever it is you got going on, tune in every week. I'm going to give you what you need to get paid. Yeah.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, football season is back in the house.
It's official.
Thank you for being here with Petty Sports Wednesday night, brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Station. I'm Mike Bell, baby. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were right here with us. We appreciate it. Everybody that started that watch party, everybody in the chat room that chimed in. We didn't get to everybody, but nobody was brave enough to call in. But hey, thank you so much.
Call in next week.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid of fees over here. You know what I'm saying? Get your facts and your story in line. You'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? So hope your picks turn out to be the way you want them to be this weekend. Enjoy it. And like I always say, God willing, the creek don't rise. We'll see you next time. ATL.
Alrighty. Yes, sir.